minus 9 minutes. Minus 8 minutes. Minus 7 minutes. Minus 6 minutes. Minus 5 minutes. Stand by.
How about that?
Hello, everybody. Happy Football Friday. It's a big day, very big day. Episode number 1638. Big day because it's Friday. Hope you're ready for the weekend. I am. Kevin the Medium remains in the Dominican Republic. We don't know if we're ever going to see him again, our usual Friday co-host. So we're welcoming in mere moments Joe 747 Gunnis from the Ratio podcast. Do you like what I've done with the place? I've Christmased it up. The RP show set here as we broadcast on the Game Plus television network at various other platforms to you around the world. There he is, Joe 747 Gunnis, joining us today, ready to talk some football. What do you got for us today, Joe? How are you?
Great, and you're looking festive. I love it. I love it. And yes,
Thank you.
let's hope that old Kevin Hughes does make it out of the tree fort and gets back to us.
If he doesn't, we'll be fine. Let's go. Jim Barker will be with us in hour two, and we'll explain why coming up a little later on. But it's a Football Friday. We do have breaking huge news on this Friday, and it is hockey. I'm going to have to apologize, but it is also the Canadian Hour, and Joe's nodding his head. He approves of us interrupting this football talk to tell you that the Edmonton Oilers have finally made a move in gold. Edmonton has acquired goaltender Tristan Jarry and forward Samuel Poulin for the Pittsburgh Penguins in exchange for netminder Stuart Skinner, defenseman Brett Kulak, and a second-round draft pick in 2029. I know, Joe, that it's colder than a hooker's heart where you are, so you haven't ventured outside the world headquarters of EMJ Marketing, but I'm sure if you did, all the talk would be about this move. Stuart Skinner's days as an Oiler are done. And I always look at it from the goalie's perspective. He's probably like, see ya. And that is the big news, right? That's the big news.
Big news for sure, and I'm sure that he was packed and already gone out of Edmonton, I'll tell you. I mean, here's a guy that got you the Stanley Cup Finals. Here's a guy that, did what he could and never got any credit or praise or, that pressure cooker every single day. If you stepped the wrong way, if you stepped out on the ice the wrong way, like I don't think you were destined to win there. I don't think that people were giving you the opportunity to win there. And I think, a fresh start for him is going to be good.
Yeah, and Tristan Jarry's a quality goaltender as well for the Pittsburgh Penguins. I saw them come through here with the Penguins. They beat the Panthers in Sunrise, and he's a quality goalie too. So sometimes a change of scenery for everybody is needed. We'll delve into this a little later on, but that's the big news. And there's also breaking news out of Toronto. This is a bit of a formality. Mark Shapiro, the president of the Toronto Blue Jays, has signed a contract extension. We'll get into that later. Now, back on point, what we were going to talk about. This is the original point one. It seems like it was a month ago. Thursday Night Football. Kirk Cousins threw 3 touchdown passes to Kyle Pitts Sr., and Zane Gonzalez kicked a 43-yard field goal as time expired to complete the Atlanta Falcons' rally for a 29-28 victory over the Buccaneers in Tampa Bay on Thursday Night Football. Facing a 3rd and 28 on the Falcons' final drive, Cousins completed passes of 14 yards to Pitts, 20 yards to David Sills, and the 5th to set up Gonzalez. And they kicked that was a stunner that the Falcons would win in a nothing game for them. They've already been eliminated. And I will say this, Joe, you said you watched fits and starts of the game. I'll say this. I was very disappointed, unless I missed something, because I watched it on Amazon Prime. There was very little coverage of the 50-year anniversary of the Buccaneers franchise. As a matter of fact, if I hadn't known that Chris Sims was going there and was going to be a part of it, I wouldn't even know that it was on. I'm not asking you for a comment on that. I just want to get that off my chest. I was all excited to revel in Tampa Bay history that it just didn't happen. But you have other thoughts coming out of the game, and it has to do with the Buccaneers coach.
Well, I thought the press conference was rather interesting. I mean, you get on there and you rip away and you rip your players and you just say that they don't care and that type of thing. And you know what? They didn't play with a lot of heart. We can all probably, agree on that. But at the end of the day, if your team isn't playing like they care, then I would say that we have to look within as the coach, as the organization. Because if I've got a whole bunch of players that could give two handles to be there and don't care, what am I doing as an organization? And do I have the right coach? And do I have the right GM? And I think you got to look at all of that. If you can just get in there and say, "Hey, listen, my team's this, my team's that. They need to care. It's they're professional. It's their job." You're right. You're not right, but that's not a media thing. That is a culture that you haven't built there yet.
Yeah, well, and by the way, folks, Joe joins us from the Ratio podcast, but he is also a high-level, high school-aged volleyball coach. So coaching is coaching. So Joe knows of what he speaks, and he's right though, because the Bucks played like they didn't care largely. Baker Mayfield was running for his life all night long. Some guys had big games. Mike Evans looked good in his return, but it didn't look like a team that really needed to win to nail down the NFC South or help their chances. And usually when the alumni are around, you heard my commentary this morning. You can read it at rodpeterson.com. Usually when the alumni are around, it lights a fire under the current team. And that didn't happen last night. The Buccaneers lost an almost must-win game, 29-28 to the Atlanta Falcons. And a little later on, if we have time, because Joe's with us for 40 minutes, I want to ask you your thoughts on Kirk Cousins. Because I love Kirk Cousins. I still think he's all that. But try telling somebody in Minnesota that, and maybe somebody in Washington, because he was your quarterback and they were the Redskins when he was there. By the way, before we break, I'll sprinkle these in. Kirk is watching in the Bridge City. He writes in on the 902 text line for Western Dodge. He says, I'm still a big Stuart Skinner fan. A lot of the struggles for the Oilers this year is not on him alone. A change of scenery for Skinner and Jarry is probably needed, but giving up Kulak at a second-round pick in 2029 is an overpay. It's all on the rest of the players now, and for sure even more on Stan Bowman. So, yeah, if it was 1-for-1, that would have made a lot more sense. I totally understand what you're saying, but back to what Joe was saying, Stuart Skinner probably just relieved. Hey, Tristan Jarry, welcome back home, former Edmonton Oil Kings goaltender. Just a little teensy bit more pressure now than the last time you donned an Edmonton jersey. So for those that just turned on the television or the radio or wherever you're joining us from today, Stuart Skinner dealt from the Edmonton Oilers to the Pittsburgh Penguins for goaltender Tristan Jarry in a package deal. On the way, we've got CFL notes. We got college football notes. We've got more NFL Week 15 notes. We're not going to get out of here without talking about Phillip Rivers and a lot of other things. The NHL from last night, the NHL coming up tonight. A poll question, which, by the way, it's America's Game of the Week. What is it? What's America's Game of the Week? Brought to you by EMJ Marketing. Is it the Bills, Patriots, Colts, Seahawks, Packers, Broncos, or other? There are some other great games. Joe and I are going to play Deal or No Deal before he runs, and Jim Barker coming up in hour 2. We'll be right back. We're just getting rolling here on the Game Plus television network across Canada and 32 U.S. states, YouTube, podcast, and Mission Radio, WQVZ.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too. Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Are you ready? January 8th to 11th, it all goes down in Moose Jaw at the Yara Center. The battle on the prairies. NCAA rules. 25 elite teams. Alberta, Boston, Texas, Mexico, Manitoba, Saskatchewan. All under one roof. Come watch live. Tickets available right at the door. Pay-per-view will be available at ikslive.ca.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
All right, we're back, everybody, broadcasting from South Florida to Moose Jaw and to the West Coast, and from sea to shining sea. Joe Gunnis joins us from the Ratio Podcast. How you doing, Gunny, by the way? Are you ready for the weekend?
Yeah, getting there. Let's hope it's not minus 47 with the wind for the rest of the weekend. We could do without that, or I might be hopping a plane to Florida.
Well, you have an open invitation. You know that. Don't threaten, man. You know, don't tease. Oh, by the way, I moved my Christmas lights. Does it look haphazard, or does it look like a violation of code, or does it look okay where I got my Christmas lights here on the set?
I think it looks great.
Okay, good. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. The text line is open, 902-518-3033. It's brought to you by Western Dodge. Are you looking to trade up? Western Dodge makes it easy with top dollar trade-ins and unbeatable deals. The big news is from the hockey world. Stuart Skinner traded today from the Edmonton Oilers to the Pittsburgh Penguins for Tristan Jarry, fellow goaltender. We are soliciting comments from our audience, 902-518-3033. But we do save Fridays for football and hour one because it is the Canadian hour here on Game Plus TV. I got a CFL note, Joe. I got a few. Darnell Sankey is getting a head start on CFL free agency. The Montreal Alouettes announced they released the all-star linebacker Thursday. The 6-foot, 242-pound Sankey led the CFL in tackles with the Calgary Stampeders back in 2021 and the Saskatchewan Roughriders in 2022. Before heading to the XFL, where he helped the Arlington Renegades capture a championship. In other bigger news with Montreal, earlier this week, they extended quarterback Davis Alexander 1 year through 2028 on Tuesday. So let's just unpack this for a second, and CFL fans gather around and comment in, because that's why you're here. I should tell everybody, not only is Joe from the Ratio Podcast, EMJ Marketing, and a bevy of other things, he's also my speaker manager, Corey Mays' speaker manager, Jim Barker's speaker manager. I think we can now add Mark Mueller to that. Luke Mullender's Joe. Joe is a manager of the Stars and me. And we were honestly, the Sankey thing is whatever. This is a clerical deal. Okay, that's a line item. Not to speak ill of Darnell Sankey, but this kind of thing is going to happen this time of year. It becomes dollars and cents, okay? It's not personal in the case of Sankey, but with them extending Davis Alexander, Joe, talking to the football guys, they're like, he's legit. He is it. Davis Alexander. He's the kind of guy that you treat like royalty if you're the Montreal Alouettes. I can't wait to see him live.
Yeah, I think you got to start to build a whole team and a whole team to make a run around him. That's the important thing. And with Sankey, I mean, he, heck of a football player, no doubt about it, but starting to get old in years and all those types of things. So you're looking at what you have available behind him, and that type of thing. And again, if you're going to extend contracts and those types of things, you better believe dollars and cents plays a part into it.
Yeah, and so from the audience, Jason and Red Deer writes, and he says he extended one of the best quarterbacks in the CFL for just 1 year. Should have locked him up for at least 2 or 3. Well, the story says they've extended him through 2028. So they already had him long-term-ish. They added a year to that. So they have him 26, 27, and 28. And like a fool, I had to slap myself last night. I was thinking, maybe we can talk about who the Grey Cup favorites are for 2026. Don't. Each team has like 30 free agents. It's I don't even know when would be the best time to have that conversation, but it ain't now.
No, I think you got to look to see wherever he goes, and to extending through 2028, he's not going to want to extend past there anyways, because he's going to want to make sure he solidifies his future and dollars down the road, especially if he has some great years, which we all think he's going to. Obviously, you're thinking that the Riders and the Alouettes are still going to be, two of the top in the CFL no matter what. But it all really depends on who shuffles where and what happens. And it'll be interesting to see where teams like the Bombers, who have been had perennial good teams, end up as well, right in the.
Yeah, well, this is the time of the week and the time of the year that we're going to be talking about the Canadian Football League, Hour 1 on Fridays. And we'll talk about it more with Jim Barker next hour, which, by the way, hey, what people love about this show is it's real. We don't hide anything. And last week when Jim Barker dropped on this show that he was going back to work for the Argos, which I didn't know was coming. I'm not sure if you knew that it was coming. I know you're his speaker manager, but you're not his agent, because I know who his agent is. Immediately the viewers were like, "Oh, can I miss him on Football Friday?" I'm like, not so fast, my friend. And he's back for the foreseeable future. What can you tell the viewers about that?
Yeah, and Jim's gonna be back, and he's gonna stay on the show as long as he can, and he's able to. With obviously his job commitments, he's got to look after. But Jim's been great on the show. I think that if you really listen to what he has to say, he's got a lot of good things. Some people like him, some people don't, but that's kind of all of us all the time, right? But he brings an element about football that is true, like you said, and interesting, and he's got a lot of knowledge. Like, it's crazy the amount of knowledge that he actually has.
Well, it's funny. I would take any response from the audience within reason to this. I know that Jim Barker has haters because I monitor our Facebook page too. Anytime we put something up there about Jim Barker, people are ripping him. And I'm like, what would you possibly have to rip Jim Barker for? Like me, I get it. And you've told producer Corey, I get roasted every day, and I have for decades. I don't care. But Jim Barker, what's he ever done that would bring haters? I just, other than, he's kind of like a guy that I was with this week, Doug McLean, the former Florida Panthers coach. He's got some haters too. They're pretty confident. They're pretty bold. And I guess they say what's on their mind. And I don't know. People don't like that, Joe. I'm not sure.
Well, sometimes I think people just don't like it when you have an opinion, right? You don't have to agree with my opinion. It is my opinion. So if you don't fall into line with what the masses think, then they get upset. But as far as I'm concerned, that's what this show is all about. It's about us coming on here, talking sports, giving our opinions, and bringing on guests that give their opinions, and engaging with the fans that are here all the time. It's great to see the comments. I love it every day when I watch all the comments coming in. It's what makes the show.
Well, and the beautiful thing for him is he is on Facebook, but I don't think he follows our page, so I don't even think he reads it. Yeah. Carlos in Indianapolis writes in and says, Coach Barker feels like a lovable grandfather figure. Yeah, I never felt that way, but I never knew him until he started coming on this show, and then he spent some time with you and me and Moose Jaw this summer. I'm like, he's a really cool dude. He is what you see is what you get. He's one of those guys. I like guys like that. By the way, as we move along, we're not keeping to the normal format. Joe's a football guy first, so we'll stick with football today because it's also a football Friday. But Bill is watching from the Queen City. He says the Stuart Skinner trade will put the pressure on the Oilers defense to step up. The Oilers must have not had any re-signing plans for him. Yes, Skinner's contract is up at the end of the season. Isn't that something like the Oilers would just drop this on a football Friday? How insensitive of them. Don't they know that we're talking football today, that the Oilers would trade Stuart Skinner? But I wonder how Grant Fuhr would have done in today's NHL. I don't know Stuart Skinner other than from calling games in the Western League when he was there with Swift Current. Grant Fuhr, I've been around talking. Grant Fuhr is the kind of guy that has ice in his veins, and he's just just a joking, common kind of guy. I don't know if Stuart Skinner's like that or not. I don't know if Grant Fuhr, it would have been hard enough to, what I'm getting at is to be a goalie in your hometown, specifically Edmonton, would be hard enough, let alone today's day and age of the social media and all the rest. There are those that tell me that it was just as hard then in the 80s as it is now. So I'm not saying Fuhr wouldn't have been as good now as he was then. I'm not sure. What I can tell you is very difficult, I would think, to be the goalie for the Edmonton Oilers, no matter where you're from. And I don't think Stuart Skinner's probably losing much sleep or shedding many tears about moving on. From the, Laverne in Frontier City writes in, he says, relief for Stuart Skinner, that oi monkey is off his back. Wish Skinner success in Pittsburgh. Kirk in Toronto writes in, says, now that John Murphy has been fired by the Argos, will Pinball stay on as the de facto GM, or are they looking for a full-time one? Well, I guess we can ask Jim Barker that when he joins us next hour. One thing that I've realized is you can't have enough leaders. If they're quality leaders, you can't have enough of them. Guys that are quality leaders know when to step forward and they know when to step back. So, John Huffnagel's there, Jim Barker's there, Pinball's there. I'm kind of getting Bo Levi signed a new deal with Hamilton this week. Cody Fajardo signed a new deal with Edmonton this week. And the Indianapolis Colts are bringing back a 44-year-old grandfather by the name of Phillip Rivers, which we'll get into in the next segment, Joe. But what does this say about all these guys that we thought had been turned out to pasture have been brought back into the fold?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head with leaders are leaders, and you have to have them. You have to have skill. You have to have pedigree, right? I mean, if you look at Pinball, people listen to him for lots of reasons. Not only will he bring it, but he has brought it on the field, off the field, right? So, I mean, if you're going to listen to what somebody has to say, he's earned the respect for people to listen to him, as have Huffnagel, Barker, and even Bo to some respects, right? They've been there, they've been through the war, and they can lead a team, right? You talk about Cousins. I mean, you watch that game. He led them down the field. He did it, right? You need people that can lead and that can execute when they need to execute, and that's important.
It's funny that when the Falcons signed Kirk Cousins, I think he did okay, but he did lose the starting job to a rookie last year in the form of Michael Penix Jr., and then he got it back this year because Penix is hurt. It's just where do you make that decision to go from old to new? Like the Alouettes did it from Cody Fajardo to Davis Alexander, and I would suggest that it worked. I mean, if that guy doesn't get hurt last year, we may be talking about a different Grey Cup champion. So at some point, yeah, you do need to turn the page, but I just get a real bang out of these guys being brought back at an advanced age, whether it's on the field or in the front office. Jeff, the Stampeders fan, writes in and says, the Argos can't afford a real GM. Well, he's just trolling, because while MLSE's got unending money, maybe they'll have different bank accounts, the Leafs, the Raptors, the Argos. I don't know, but they can afford a general manager because they've had Pinball there for years. One interesting thing about that, though, what I heard from my Calgary people, was that there was a day a few years ago that Huff, and I don't know this is a fact, I'll have to really check into it, but that Huff was speaking to the room, looked around and just said, I've lost him. And that was when he knew it was time to step aside, that there was a generational gap there. I don't know if that's true or not. That's what I heard. Why would you step back into it then? I mean, maybe he's not going to be giving locker room speeches in Toronto. My guess is he won't be, Joe.
No, probably not. But I think here's a guy that comes with a ton of experience and an opportunity to set some culture. And maybe you don't have the speeches in you anymore. Maybe it's just time for you to move on a bit. But you'll be able to parlay everything else into the team. And that's important.
I will clarify this on the behalf of Jeff, the Stamps fan, because he's a P1 viewer. I need to get it straight. He says, I mean with the cap, Rod. They got money. Do they have enough money within the cap? Well, Murph's gone. They haven't even assembled a coaching staff yet, or at least they haven't announced it. So they've got the money there for everything that they need. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Deal or no deal, NFL Week 15 coming up, and any other football notes with Joe 747 Gunners from the Ratio Podcast. We'll be right back. You're watching us on the Game Plus television network across Canada, 32 U.S. states. Podcast, Mission Radio, WQVZ.
Are you ready? January 8th to 11th, it all goes down in Moose Jaw at the Yara Center. The battle on the prairies. NCAA rules. 25 elite teams. Alberta, Boston, Texas, Mexico, Manitoba, Saskatchewan. All under one roof. Come watch live. Tickets available right at the door. Pay-per-view will be available at ikslive.ca.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's a Football Friday. We're going to get into the football right now, other than I should tell you the junior hockey report. We do it every day for the Mad Greek Eatery in, you guessed it, Moose Jaw. Tonight in the dub, what do we got? 3, 6, 9 games, including those pesky Warriors. They are at Medicine Hat. The Brandon Wheat Kings welcome Kelowna. What else do I have here? The Blades are home to Lethbridge. PA is at Swift Current. So if you're in the area, get out to the game. Plus 5 games out west, Alberta and BC. But if you're in the Jaw and you're craving the famous Greek ribs that everybody in Moose Jaw is talking about, get yours today at the Mad Greek Eatery. Dine in, pick up, or order online at themadgreekeatery.com. Joe has told me it's cold there. Listen, buddy. It's cold here too, dude. I had to turn the heat on in my Jeep this morning going to the gym. So I piped down with the cold. It's the first time I've had to have the heat turned on. Okay. Tony writes in from Cochrane, and he says the polar vortex will indeed affect Week 15 in the NFL. Advantage to the best rushing teams in a lot of key playoff race matchups. And before Joe Gunnis and I, Joe from the Ratio podcast, get to Deal or No Deal, I will tell you the breaking news. Stuart Skinner has been dealt to the Pittsburgh Penguins for goaltender Tristan Jarry, who's headed to Edmonton. And also Mark Shapiro, the president of the Blue Jays, has signed a brand new deal. And I'll tell you the poll question today for EMJ Marketing is, what is America's game of the week in the NFL? And I may not have the right 3 here, but I don't even have my team's game in it, nor your team's game in it, Joe. I've got the Bills and the Patriots, which is what I voted for. I'm freakishly more interested in that than any. Bills, Patriots in New England, a great AFC East clash. Indianapolis at Seattle, Green Bay at Denver, or other. For you, what is the game of the week? What's America's game of the week in the NFL?
I agree with you, Rod, but I also find that I think the Green Bay Denver is going to be an interesting game to watch as well. So I would say those two, but certainly agree with you.
James writes in, he says the NFL game of the week is Jets Jaguars. And then he's like, wrong. 65% of respondents are saying that it's the Patriots Bills. I guess now would be a good time to get down to Deal or No Deal. We do it every week. Sometimes I do it with a guest. Sometimes I do it on my own. Sometimes it's with the Moose. But Moose ain't here. He's actually in Las Vegas right now, working on a flag football event with his other job. So it's Joe and I from the Ratio podcast, Joe 747 Adams. Sorry, Joe 747 Gunnis. You stole the nickname from Joe Adams, who had 747. I know who gave you that. Kelly Rimple. Washington at the New York Giants. What I do is I give the point spread, the betting line, and then the guest, in this case Joe, decides whether he's going to take the bet or not. So I'll say it again. Your Washington Commanders at the New York Giants. Giants favored by 2.5. Are you taking the bet or not?
No, not gonna.
That's a homer pick. I'm taking it because Jaden Daniels isn't playing, right? Jaden Daniels is not playing. Not that it matters. They can't win with him either, but I'll take the Jets. I'll take the Giants to cover. Las Vegas at Philadelphia. We have some whopping point spreads this week in the NFL. This is one of them. The Eagles favored by 11.5 at home over Vegas. Are you taking the deal or not?
I am taking that one. Yeah, 100%.
Yep, me too. The Cleveland Browns in Shitter at Chicago, and the Bears are favored by 7.5. Deal or no deal?
I'm going to say no deal, and just because I don't think they'll cover. That's all.
Okay, I will take it because it's the Browns after all. Sorry, Tony. The Baltimore Ravens at Cincinnati. The Ravens are 2.5 road favorites. Deal or no deal?
Deal.
I think I'll take it too. Arizona Cardinals. Didn't even know they still had a team. Oh, what a season they've had in the toilet. At Houston, the Texans favored by 9.5. Deal or no deal?
I'm going to have to go with that deal.
Me as well. This one, I'll go first. It's the Bills at the Patriots. Buffalo's favored by 1.5. I can't figure that out, but I'm not taking that bet. How about you?
I'm going to take it. I think the Bills are going to do that. But
Okay.
easy.
New York Jets, 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 at Jacksonville. The Jags favored by 11.5. Deal or no deal?
That's a deal. That's a deal.
Me too. Moi aussi. That's French for me too. LA Chargers at the Kansas City Chiefs. LA Chargers at Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs favored by 4.5. Deal or no deal?
No deal for me.
Oh, great. Googly moogly. I'm taking the deal. Okay, here's the one. Phillip Rivers at the Seattle Seahawks. If he starts for the Colts, and the indications are that he will, forget about him winning a Super Bowl, trying to win a game. Colts at Seahawks. Seahawks favored by 13.5. Deal or no deal?
I'm going to take the deal, actually.
Yeah, me too. I hope he doesn't get hurt. It's like Vince
kinda
Young
what I'm
and Ryder. It's like Vince Young and Ryder camp rolls out of the pocket. No, grabs his hamstring. Tennessee at San Francisco. Deal or no deal? 49ers favored by 12.5.
I'll take the deal. I'll take the deal.
Yeah, me too. Green Bay at Denver, which is probably the game of the week. Green Bay favored by 2.5 at Denver, who I believe has won 10 in a row. I'm not taking that deal. How about you?
I'm not taking the deal either.
Okay. Carolina Panthers, who now the door is open to grab the NFC South lead for a time and maybe not let it go. Carolina at New Orleans, the Panthers favored by 2.5. Deal or no deal?
A deal for sure.
He's very confident with that. The Detroit Lions at the LA Rams, another tremendous football match. The Rams are favored by 5.5. Deal or no deal?
No deal for me.
No? Why?
I just think that Detroit's poised for a win here. I just
could
have
be
that
an NFC conference championship preview. I'm taking the deal. Sunday night football, the Minnesota Vikings at my Dallas Cowboys. Dallas favored by 6. I'm taking the deal. I'm taking it. The Cowboys need it to win. They're not going to win the NFC East, but they need this win, and they're gonna raise all our hopes and crush our hearts. That's how it works. But they will cover. That's my thing on a 6-point spread. How about you? Deal or no deal?
I'll take the deal as well.
Okay, and the Miami Dolphins are at the Pittsburgh Steelers on Monday Night Football. Two teams that are feeling pretty good about themselves. Only one will leave the field happy. Steelers are favored by 3.5. Deal or no deal?
Deal for me.
I will take it as well. From the audience, Ryan in upstate New York says the game of the week is New England Buffalo. Pats win and they take the East. Bills win and they stay in the hunt with a relatively easy schedule the rest of the way. Jeff the Stamps fan says, I bet the Bills will show the Patriots who's the boss in the AFC East. From Tony Danza fame. Did you like the show Who's the Boss back in the day, Joe?
Of course.
Yeah, I kind of liked Judith Light. All my friends liked Alyssa Milano. I liked Judith Light.
Yeah, I have to say I was a Alyssa Milano fan.
Yeah, I don't know. I just like the tall blondes. Jason in Red Deer says the Bills on the outside looking in playoff-wise, so that's a huge game. That's why I say that's the game of the week. But Packers-Broncos is amazing. Rams-Lions, as I say, is amazing. It's going to be a wonderful Week 15 of NFL football. Coming back after the break, sports update, and viewer takeover the rest of the way. Joe, you stay warm. Hope you enjoyed your time with us today. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, Rod. It's always a lot of fun, and appreciate it. We'll keep the heat turned on.
Joe 747 Gunnis, Joe Gunnis, as John Frenzy would say, from the Ratio Podcast and the EMJ Marketing Elite Speakers Bureau. We'll be right back here on the Game Plus Television Network, YouTube Live, podcast, and Mission Radio WQVZ.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Okay, welcome back, everybody, on a Football Friday. Now it's going to get weird or weirder. But first, I have to ask you, does your message stand out? At Outlaw Communications, we make sure it does. Tony Plater brings 35 years of communication and leadership expertise, from media training and leadership coaching to strategic crisis planning and compelling content. He'll help you lead with confidence. Outlaw Communications, where creativity isn't a hobby, it's a way of life. No, it's not going to get weird here, but for whatever reason, Jeff, the Stamps fan, he brought up He said the Bills are going to show the Patriots who's the boss in the AFC East on Sunday. My mind immediately went to the 80s sitcom Who's the Boss, starring Tony Danza, Judith Light, and Alyssa Milano. And I said, I prefer to Judith Light of the females on that show. And the other thing I remember is Alyssa Milano is 3 days younger than me. 3 days younger. Now you can look it up. From the NFL schedule. Oh, so anyways, Jeff the Stamps fan says, Judith Light, really? As a teenager over Alyssa Milano? Interesting. What can I say? Let's not dig too deep into the dark recesses of our minds. Greg in Calgary writes in 902-518-3033 on what's America's game of the week in the National Football League. He says, hey, Rod, I'll say other Lions versus Rams. No, see, that should be a doozy, but it's going to be a fantastic full day of football watching, and I had to throw the Colts Seahawks game in there because of the Phillip Rivers factor. And I'm glad that I wasn't the only one that saw it. When I saw the interviews of Phillip Rivers at the podium, come on, we all thought the same thing. He looks thick. He looks like the 44-year-old grandfather that he is. Double chin. Great. But not a guy that's going to be leading a National Football League team. This ain't senior hockey. And the guys were saying this morning on NFL radio that, come on, Florio and Chris Sims, that there's got to be some young guys in that locker room going, this is the best they could do? So we'll see. I went from hoping that they get to the Super Bowl to hoping he doesn't get snapped in half. He doesn't look that nimble, is all that I'm saying. Laverne writes in from the Frontier City. He says, for those that don't like Coach Barker, I hope they get a lump of coal in their Christmas stocking. He's a wealth of football knowledge. The Argos are lucky to have him and Huff on board. No, I agree. I'm not saying any of us agree with or should listen to those that slam Jim Barker. There's no reason to. There's no reason to. But there are just people roaming this big green ball that when somebody's confident, it rubs them the wrong way. So we ignore those people. That's what we do. And life becomes a hell of a lot easier. Ryan in upstate New York says, so who's the boss? It was Angela. We all know it was Angela. Who was the boss? I thought it was Tony Danza was the boss. And Jason in Red Deer says, Rod could have said worse and went with Mona. She was nice looking for an older lady. Come on. Arlen Bruce writes in, stopping the madness. I said it was going to get weird. I said I prepped you. Arlen writes in, he says, RP, great show as always. I picked the Rams-Ravens for Super Bowl. Rams are still on track. It might be the winner of the Bills versus Patriots, probably be in the Super Bowl. Do you have proof, AB, anywhere? Do you have the receipt that you picked the Ravens and the Rams for the Super Bowl? Man, what a season it's been. I had Bills-Lions. I have far better success picking Stanley Cup final combatants. I really do. Than Super Bowl combatants. It's almost like when I pick NHL finals, it's a year in advance. That's how far ahead I am of everybody on that. When it comes to NFL, it's like the kiss of death. And I also picked a Winnipeg-Toronto Grey Cup and saw how that went. On point with the sports update brought to you by Ultimate Fan Zone, your home for jerseys, collectibles, and all the gear you need. There's still time to do the in-person shopping for the sports nut in your life. Visit them today or shop online at ultimatefanzone.ca. The Pittsburgh Penguins have traded goaltender Tristan Jarry and forward Sam Poulin to Edmonton for goaltender Stuart Skinner, defenseman Brett Kulak, and a 2029 second-round pick. Jarry, a two-time All-Star, spent 10 years in Pittsburgh and has rebounded this season under new coach Dan Muse. He's got a record of like 9-3-1 or something. He was spectacular when the Penguins came through here. Skinner, who becomes a free agent after this season, has struggled with an .891 save percentage. I saw, because everybody thinks I come to South Florida for the winter and just turn my back on all of Canada, and that is not a fact. I'm following everything that's going on up there, and I saw Martin Biron say on TSN that the Oilers skaters have lost faith in Stuart Skinner. Now, Biron is a goalie, so he's in the union. But the second he said that, I'm like, yeah, maybe Skinner's lost faith in them. It's over now. It's over. Don't matter anymore. And here's hoping for the best for everybody. How about that? Breaking news out of Tirana, the Republic of Tirana. The Toronto Blue Jays have renewed President and CEO Mark Shapiro's contract for 5 years, the team announced today. Financial terms were not disclosed. The extension comes on the heels of the Blue Jays' first appearance in the World Series since 1993. The 58-year-old Shapiro was named president and CEO of the Blue Jays after the 2015 season, succeeding the retiring Paul Beeston. Shapiro had spent 24 seasons with the Cleveland Guardians prior to that, including the last 5 years as team president. Toronto Maple Leafs defenseman Oliver Ekman-Larsson left last night's 3-2 overtime loss to the San Jose Sharks after injuring his left ankle and will be further evaluated. The Leafs are already without blue liners Chris Tanev and Brandon Carlo, with head coach Craig Berube confirming Carlo recently underwent surgery. Islanders center Bo Horvat, a Canadian Olympic hopeful, is day-to-day with a lower body injury after leaving last night's game against the Ducks. The 30-year-old was hurt midway through the second period after getting tangled up and did not return. Horvat leads the Islanders with 19 goals and 31 points. Somebody help me. Was Horvat on the Four Nations face-off team last year? I don't feel like he was. But maybe he was. Can somebody Google it real fast and go to the big board? I mean, I could in the break. That's what I have you for. That is your sports update, proudly presented by Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. Get your game day gear in store or online at ultimatefanzone.ca. It's a chilly one there, I understand, in the Great White North, so thanks for spending your day with us. Are you with us, Bob in Medicine Hat, who texted us the other day and said that we help get him through these cold winter mornings? Such a nice thing to get. Kirk in Toronto writes in, he says, the Argos have said that Huffnagel will be working from his home in Cochrane, Alberta. Sure, guys, sure, I understand that. But do you understand the Argos? I just said, will he be giving locker room speeches with the Argos? Probably not. Nobody's discounted what I said earlier, by the way. The story I heard was that one day Huff was given a locker room speech and realized that nobody was paying attention. He's like, I've lost him. I'm done. But I've traveled with teams a lot. Argos will go through Calgary. A lot of times the current coaching staff will bring in a guy like Huff and say, hey, would you mind speaking to the team? That's all I'm saying. Could very well happen. I'm not saying he's flying to Toronto to lead the team out of the tunnel. These things happen. Jason and Red Deer, thank you for answering this. He says, Bo Horvat was not on the roster in the Four Nations Cup. I just, when it said, the story said that he's a hopeful for the Olympics, I'm like, really? With who? I could give you 3 names of guys, forwards, ahead of Bo Horvat that I would expect to be on Team Canada. Connor Bedard, chief among them. Macklin Celebrini, Mark Scheifele. Yeah, I don't think Bo Horvat. Jeremy has joined us from Winnipeg. Nice of you to join us, Jeremy. He says the Oilers got Jari. WTF. Right. Well, it's interesting because the guys from that Two Mutts hockey podcast, who I don't know who they are, but they had been DMing me over the last while. They had said like a month ago that this trade was happening or had happened and then didn't, and they got so soundly beaten up, they stepped away from the podcast, citing mental health reasons, which good for them for admitting it. And then it turns out they're right. Oh my God. Am I the only one following that? I feel like a lot of you people probably would be following it too. Sometimes when you're too close to the situation, that can be bad. What do they say? Flying too close to the sun? Trust me, I know. Jeff the Stamps fan says Huff's 2008 Grey Cup speech still gives me goosebumps. It's probably the greatest speech in CFL history. And if there's another one, I'd like to see it. If there's one better, I'd like to see it. I haven't seen one better. And he also asked, are the Oilers any better with this trade? Honestly, they're markedly better simply because of the change. At some point, you need to say, this ain't working out. And that's what they did today. Stuart Skinner is a Pittsburgh Penguin. Tristan Jarry is an Edmonton Oiler. And we'll see how that goes. A lot more coming up next hour of all of this and more. We haven't even got to college football yet. And Jim Barker will be joining us to talk all levels of football in his new role with the Argos. We'll be right back after this on Game Plus TV.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
It is a Football Friday. It's a little thing we do every Friday here on the Rod Pedersen Show. Welcome, everybody. Get comfortable, which I'm assuming you are. It's your favorite daytime sports talk show coming at you in a variety of ways. The Game Plus television network, as always, across Canada and 32 U.S. states. We welcome the Nevada viewers here in hour two on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. Big win for the Golden Knights last night at Philadelphia. One of the 6 games I got wrong in my NHL picks. And we'll do tonight's picks as well coming up later on this hour. It won't be as long. There's 13 games Thursday, but only 2 games on Friday night. And listen, I'm going to get right down to business here because who's kidding who? Everybody wants to hear from Jim Barker. He's coming up in the next segment. The veteran football man, regular Football Friday analyst. He's joined the front office of the Toronto Argonauts of the Canadian Football League, the oldest pro football team on the continent, but he's going to stay with us too, and we're very happy about that. We got breaking news on this Friday. You know, for the new viewers, I will tell you this. Years ago, when we started this show 7 years ago, I said I used to lay down my head at night and think about what are we going to talk about the next day. That lasted like 2 days because now it's breaking news every day. It's the world that we live in, and this is what went down Friday morning from the National Hockey League. We'll open there with breaking news. The Edmonton Oilers have finally made a move in goal. Edmonton has acquired goaltender Tristan Jarry and forward Samuel Poulin from the Pittsburgh Penguins in exchange for netminder Stuart Skinner, defenseman Brett Kulak, and a second-round draft pick in 2029. For those that follow the Edmonton Oilers, the Pacific Division even, or the NHL overall, you'll know this was easily one of the top 5 stories in the NHL, not just this year, but for the last several, about the Edmonton Oilers crease situation. Well, today they've addressed it by acquiring 10-year veteran, 2-time All-Star, and former Edmonton Oil King Tristan Jarry. I don't think that can be discounted. He's, in a way, going home. And for Stuart Skinner, he's a hometown boy, leaving Edmonton. And it's too early. The trade just happened today. But to say what is his legacy in Edmonton, leading the Oilers to back-to-back Stanley Cup finals. You Oiler fans that would know better than me, didn't he tie and break some of the records held by Dwayne Rollison, Grant Fuhr from days gone by on Stanley Cup runs? Like I tend to defend goalies, take on others' pain. And I've been told you got to stop doing that, Rod. I just felt bad for Stuart Skinner being an Edmonton boy and how difficult it would be to play goal in that crease. You didn't have to worry about it after today. Stuart Skinner dealt to the Pittsburgh Penguins. And the questions are coming in from the viewers. It's kind of flipped Football Friday on its head. The Oilers did not consult me in the timing of announcing this trade. But the viewers are saying, are the Oilers better? Well, it wasn't going to get better with Skinner. There's no doubt. And you got Jarry there. He's got the chops. He's got the experience and still a pretty good goalie. And I feel like he needed a change too. He'd been sent down to the minors by the Penguins over the years. So, yeah. We'll see where it goes. That's the breaking news. Now, back to the original point 1 was to be Thursday Night Football. Kirk Cousins threw 3 touchdown passes to Kyle Pitts Sr., and Zane Gonzalez kicked a 43-yard field goal as time expired to complete the Atlanta Falcons' improbable rally for a 29-28 victory over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Thursday Night Football. Now, anybody that's been watching the sports talk shows all day, this has been kicked around to death, so I'm not going to spend any more time on it other than to say this. Everybody whiffed on this. The odds makers whiffed on this. They had the Buccaneers favored by 4. It made no sense that not only that they would lose, but that they would play as badly as they did. Baker Mayfield was running for his life all night. He didn't have time to set up. That's what I saw. Maybe Jim Barker will have some thoughts on this when he joins us next. But it really was a must-win game for the Buccaneers if they want to win the NFC South. It's put their season in some peril here. They've lost 5 of their last 6. And to be honest, I was a little let down. I logged in to the Prime Video, Amazon Prime pregame show, and then the game, and I expected to see them parading all the old-time Buccaneers around because it was the 50-year anniversary night. They were wearing the creamsicle uniforms, and from what I saw, none of that happened. Maybe I just was gone to the bathroom at the wrong times. I don't know. But the other thing, why I was quite confident that the Buccaneers would win this football game is with hockey teams I've been with, football teams I've been with, when we have anniversary weekends, reunion, alumni weekends, the team usually goes out and motorboats the competition because there's a sense of pride there. And that didn't happen at all with the Buccaneers last night. And the coach came out and ripped their ass afterwards, his players, which our Hour 1 co-host, Joe, had an issue with. Joe's a high-level elite coach. He doesn't like coaches throwing their players under the bus. But I guess, frankly, when it's done at the right time and tactfully, it can be okay. I mean, I think Todd Bowles is liked in that locker room, but there's a guy under a lot of pressure in Tampa Bay, given what they've done the last 6 weeks. And we'll see if it has the desired results. But how about Kirk Cousins? Score one for the old guys. Between Cousins with the massive comeback last night, Phillip Rivers about to start week 15 for the Colts at age 44, Huff and Jim Barker being welcomed into the front office of the Argos. Score one for the old guys. Okay, moving on to point 2. Army and Navy meet Saturday in Baltimore for their annual college football rivalry clash. Army at 6-5 and Navy at 9-2 have been successful against other teams this year as well leading up to this game. Both have secured bowl bids. The Black Knights to the Fenway Bowl and the Midshipmen to the Liberty Bowl. Navy finished tied for first in the American Conference and missed out on the league title game because of tiebreakers. Should be a dandy on Saturday. It's always the one game after the regular season concludes and before the college football playoff games begin. Should be a doozy. Army versus Navy on Saturday. I'll ask you, the viewers, what is your interest level on college football bowl games? Mine is about 9 out of 10 for a variety of reasons. I can't say 10 out of 10 because that's not fair to the people that are 10 out of 10. I got my eye on the NHL as well. I got my eye on NFL. I got my eye on junior hockey. I'm kind of quasi following the NLL. So it's not totally dialed in on college football, but I'll say 9 out of 10. What's yours, Rod Squad, as we'd like to call you, the viewers of the RP show? Not the least of which is we have a bowl game here, December 23rd, what they're calling but I wish they would call it the Bush Beans Boca Raton Bowl, but they're not calling it that. They're calling it the Bush's Boca Raton Bowl of Beans. Can you imagine getting that trophy, which somebody will, or that ring, putting that around the top of it? The Bush's Boca Raton Bowl of Beans. It's Toledo, Louisville here on December 23rd. I'll be at the game. Don't really give a rat's ass who wins, but it's something to do. But everybody's very fired up about the December 20th first round game, Miami Hurricanes versus Texas A&M, and I don't even need to tell you how this town is going nuts. And the Dolphins actually have a pulse, believe it or not, as they go into Pittsburgh on Monday night. Now, both Joe and I picked that they were going to lose when we did our deal or no deal last hour, but hey, it's been a rather repressed football town around here for a while, so everybody's excited right now. And my guess is I will probably end up hosting a Miami Hurricanes watch party. It's December 20th. I've already hosted one this year. Who would have thought that would happen? But it's the U at Texas A&M, December 20th, noon kickoff. Let's go. By the way, our picks are brought to you weekly by Pump Jack's Steakhouse and Saloon. Come early, stay late. At the place where friends meet, Pump Jack's Cathedral and Pump Jack's Weyburn, your number one spot for watching football, in Southern 306. Next point, and by the way, Jim Barker coming up in the next segment. Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes in, he says, looking forward to BYU versus Georgia Tech in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. As Tony says here, back to football. Yeah, that's what we're talking about today. It's a football Friday. Ryan in upstate New York says, go Navy, beat Army. We have some stragglers from hour one. Jason and Red Deer's hanging with us. The topic of who's the boss came up. I didn't want to say it, Jason and Red Deer, but you went there. Why did it come up? Because we were talking about week 15 in the NFL. And what's the America's game of the week? That's our poll question today. And our options are Buffalo, New England, which is what I voted for. Indy at Seattle, simply because Phillip Rivers will likely start for the Colts, and that's just a curiosity factor of a train wreck. You're driving by and got to look at it. Green Bay at Denver or other. And Jeff, the Stamps fan, wrote in and said the Bills are going to go into the Patriots and show them who's boss. And I'm like, that was a wonderful sitcom in the 80s, and I liked Judith Light as a young teen over Alyssa Milano, who's my age. That freaked out a few people, including myself. Jason in Red Deer writes in, he says, Chrissy or Janet from Three's Company. Well, for me, Chrissy. Do the math. But it's just like you're either a Betty or Veronica guy or a, Jennifer Marlowe or Bailey Quarters guy. And that's about as far down that road as I want to go. Troy in Toronto writes in, he says, I love the orange sherbet Tampa Bay uniforms. Those are really throwback. He said he was 10 when he got a jersey for Christmas in 1978. Well, they call it the creamsicle jerseys in Tampa. That's what they call them. Orange sherbet will work, but that's what they call them in Tampa, and they are pretty hot. Although they never won anything in them. So it's it's a lovingly throwback period of time for Tampa Bay football, but also a very forgettable time when they didn't win much, including going 0-26 in the 70s. Ryan in New York writes in, he says, next season's Army-Navy game is at MetLife Stadium. Oh, that'll be good. I'm guessing that it is in Washington, Saturday. Never looked into it. Leanne shows up, and I'll just throw it in there because she's a P1. She says, wow, Skinner and Hulak traded for Tristan Jarry and a D-man. Can't remember his name. Poulin. And we've covered it summarily. Today, quite a bit. We've kicked it around on this Football Friday. Jim Barker coming up in the next segment to talk all levels of football. Troy in Toronto says, I wasn't sure how to spell creamsicle. You took a great shot at sherbet, and you nailed it. Oh, yeah. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says the Army-Navy game is in Baltimore, he thinks. How about Landover? Which is where but they're all in the same, but you get it. Brent writes in, he's watching on YouTube. He says, I'm not a fan of the Bucks or Falcons, but turned into a decent game. Cousins, Bijan, Robinson, and Kyle Pitts wanted that win and got it. Good for them. Right. In a game that meant nothing for the Falcons, that was a bit of a shocker on Thursday Night Football. And you got to love a game that goes down to another game that goes down to zeros on the clock when the winning points are scored. It's not just an NFL thing. The CFL was doing it this year too. The winners are us, the fans. 29-28, the Falcons win on Thursday Night Football. On what's your excitement level on the bowl season? Greg is watching in Cowtown. He writes in and says, hi, Rod. I'm 9 out of 10 on NFL playoffs, 6 of 10. Oh, on the college football playoffs, 9 of 10, 6 out of 10 on the other bowls. Well, you'll be watching either way, and that's the main thing. Laverne writes in from the Frontier City. He says, my interest has really increased in college football over the last few years. I think the team to watch out for is the Oregon Ducks. Wonder who Coach Barker likes in college football as his team. Jim, if you're watching, can you remember that? I'm guessing it'll be USC, UCLA. He is a Los Angeles guy. Mine for years and years and years was Montana. For a variety of reasons. Most geographically, obviously. The Dickinsons came out of there. I just, for geographic reasons, cheer for the Miami Hurricanes now. Vintage Sasko writes in on the text line. He says, hi, Reverend Rodney. Missed some of the show, but I am a bit of a Betty Rubble fan myself. Nice, but affirmative. Leadership qualities needed in any type of family or team. Signed, Vintage Sasko. I will say about the women portrayed in the Flintstones, very strong women. I like that. Whoever wrote that show, I like it. Somebody was did an imitation of Edith Bunker the other day. Oh, Archie. Around here. BW in Edmonton checks in, says, morning RP squad. Wouldn't it be funny if the Pittsburgh meets Edmonton in the Stanley Cup Finals? Well, maybe they both feel that's what each was missing. We're going to find out. Again, that's what everybody's talking about today. That's the big story. I get it. And with Vegas being an NHL market on the Silver State Sports Entertainment Network and Toronto being the home of Game Plus TV, I don't mind this being as big of a topic today, even on Football Friday. Stuart Skinner traded today from the Edmonton Oilers to the Pittsburgh Penguins. I think it's going to work out great for both because they're both quality goalies, and a change of scenery is often very good. Troy in Toronto watching. He says, the bowl season is great. NCAA football playoffs should be really entertaining. I'm pulling for Indiana. All right. Get your questions and comments ready for the coach, Jim Barker, when we return. You're watching the RP Show across Nevada on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network, across Canada on Game Plus TV, and 32 other U.S. states, YouTube Live, podcast, and Mission Radio, WQVZ.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Football Friday continues on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network and Game Plus TV. And by the way, sign up for the Rod Pedersen Show newsletter. It's free, everybody. Thousands of readers can't be wrong. Just go to rodpedersen.com, click on newsletter. It's brought to you by Suds. Full-service car wash. Fuel your fleet's finesse with Suds Regina's unbeatable cleaning packages. They'll shine like new every time. Visit sudsregina.com. Okay, the coach is with us, Jim Barker. Coach, happy Friday. I've been waiting all week to ask you, since you dropped the news 1 week ago that you were joining the Argos here. What's that week been like for you?
Well, it's been hectic, and when I did that, you had no idea it was coming, and that was kind of what made it a beautiful thing. I was planning on not doing it, and then you just gave me a perfect lead in. I said, "Why not?" And the look on your face was worth it. So that was good. It's been very hectic. It's there's been a lot of changes here. John Murphy, that was here, is not here now. I don't think he was fired, though. I think his contract's going to expire. So I think that's inaccurate reporting to say he was fired. I don't believe that was the case, but I don't really know. And I've had my business everywhere else, so I haven't worried about that. So it's just getting the systems in place, and I'm going to have some young Canadians. This is what I love doing, taking young Canadian guys and training, or women. And actually, our director of football operations, Melissa Frith, is fantastic. So, but taking them and trying to grow them to the next level. And as you know, there's currently 4 in the NFL front offices, and I'm proud of that. So I'm looking forward to getting to do that again. I've got a couple young guys that are going to work, start learning the way that I expect them to do things, and we'll build this thing slowly. Huff is he's going to be remote, but he's also very influential in the things we're doing here, and he has a say in a lot of the things that are going on, and he'll be involved in the management council and all those higher level things. So he and Pinball, they run it. All I'm doing the player personnel and trying to develop the department here, and again get the Argos back on the winning track, where they had won 2 out of 3 Grey Cups, and then this last year was a little of an anomaly. So I've been busy.
Yeah, well, I'm smiling because I can't imagine how your phone blew up, because my phone blew up immediately after we got off the air, and with some right here in Vegas. You always said, I can't believe how many people watched that show. I guess you found out again last Friday.
Unbelievable. And I'm flying into Vegas tonight. So
cool.
I'll be in Las Vegas. Yeah, I'm coming in, and I'll be there all weekend and until Tuesday. And going to have our Christmas with the kids and the grandkids, and just really looking forward to it. So I needed to get a job so I could afford to fly. So I haven't seen them in a while, but now that I have a job, I can go see them. So I'm excited about it.
Well, again, maybe you'll see Moose, because he's in Vegas. Everybody's going to Vegas now, so happy holidays. Moose is there for a flag football event. With what he's doing. So on a football vein, Coach, I guess where I will start is this with the NFL Week 15 and Phillip Rivers. What have you're obviously you're busy now with your current team, but what goes through a team's mind bringing in a 44-year-old who hasn't taken a snap in 5 years?
Well, again, this whole thing is about winning, and winning now. And the Colts are in a position that if they could get hot, they got a chance. They still have a chance. So you look around the world and you say, who is out there that could maybe give us a chance to win? And we went through this, back in 2016 when Ricky got hurt. We found out he was out. We didn't feel we had the answer in our building, and went out and made a trade and brought a player in. And this is different. They go back, they look. I brought Adriano Belli, who was retired. He's not the first retired guy. Now he's 44 years old, and he's doing something that, a lot of your watchers probably don't remember George Blanda. because I was a kid when I watched George Blanda, who was a kicker. And, a kicker could easily make it into his middle 40s. And he did that. But he was also a quarterback. And he played in games in his middle 40s. So physically, again, I don't know what Philip Rivers has been doing. I know he has 10 kids and he's a grandfather. And I know he's got I can't believe he's got a ton of time to be working out. But if he has been working out, and I watched some of the video of him at practice, and he looked like he's throwing the ball decently. So he's going to be out of shape. He's going to be learning a new system. Who knows how much he'll be able to put in a week. But this is old man's week. It's me here with the Argos, and it's Philip Rivers there with the Colts. So God bless us all.
Well, and Bo Levi re-signing with Hamilton. I'm going to jump back around. And Cody Fajardo re-signing in Edmonton. Cody's the youngest of that bunch, but he's not young. It kind of tells you that, hey, in Edmonton, tried a younger guy, right? Like, there's something to be said about experience on the field and off, I guess, Coach.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's things that the young coaches are doing fantastic in both leagues, in our league and in the NFL. And I think that the younger group they're doing a great job. But older us that have been around and seen things going back even 25, 30 years sometimes can be a benefit. And again, I'm through with the consultant thing. I couldn't do that again. I look at a consultant now and I think, wow, it's kind of like an intern with gray hair. And you come in and they respect what you say, but this is different. And so I just think there is a lot to be said for experience. In fact, Mike Miller, our new head coach, said, now that I'm a head coach, does that mean I can get on the Rod Pedersen show? And so he would love to be on the Rod Pedersen. Really interesting man. Just beat cancer 2 years ago. He actually missed that game Chad Kelly played poorly in. So he's got a tremendous story. He's been a coordinator with the Steelers and with the Cardinals in the NFL. He's, his first head coaching job, and it's been a lot of fun working with Mike. He's philosophically, we're the same. We both grew up in the business. It's so funny. We were talking about the jobs we had when we started coaching because you had to work side jobs, but they had to be at night because you had to be there during the day. And, he used to load and unload trucks. And I used to be an inventory counter, and I was a security guard at the Gramercy Towers where Eddie DiBartolo lived. So we were exchanging stories of what it was like breaking into coaching when we were breaking in. And now he's not as old as I am, but again, it's great to have somebody that philosophically is on the same page with you. So I think he'd be a great interview for you. I'm recommending him highly for your program.
Well, let's do it. And if he's got the Gil Scott management stamp of approval, then he's got mine. And I did speak to his agent after last Friday's show. So, yeah, let's make it happen with Mike Miller, the former offensive coordinator of the Arizona Cardinals. Speaking of old guys rule, which my dad, by the way, used to wear a T-shirt that said old guys rule, and he worked 26 years with the Dallas Stars. Yeah, in the NHL. Okay, well, he didn't. Brent says, and don't forget about Trevor Harris re-signing with Saskatchewan, a guy who I learned when I was with Corey Mace. Corey Mace is 6 months younger than his quarterback, Trevor Harris. That doesn't happen very often anywhere.
And Trevor's 40. He's 40.
Yeah. So to college football, I don't know if you saw the viewers asked who your college football team is, and if they're not in the playoff, who are you cheering for in the playoff?
Well, my college football team is the USC Trojans. I went to USC. But I love the old John McKay, John Robinson teams back when I was in college and just before then. It's kind of changed under Lincoln Riley, and it's a different kind of thing. So it's harder to like them. But if I was going to say I had a team, it'd be my alma mater, USC, and they're not in it. They couldn't win big games. You know, a team that I find really interesting in this is Texas Tech, and I think if you watch them, you're going to see defense played at a different level. I mean, Ohio State's great. Don't get me wrong. Matt Patricia, who came from the Patriots, has done a fantastic job with that Ohio State defense, and they are great. They have great players. The Texas Tech defense is just they're different. They're interesting. I'm going to be really interested to watch Texas Tech. I do believe that Ohio State is the best team in college football still. I know that Indiana beat them. Fernando Mendoza should win the Heisman Trophy just based on that. Some of the things that guy has done this year. A guy I hadn't even heard of prior to the season, and to me, he's the best player in college football. Indiana and Curtis Rourke had a great year last year. He was the preceding quarterback at Indiana, a guy that Canadians love, Curtis Rourke. So who is now back practicing finally again with the 49ers, just to throw that in. But Fernando Mendoza gives Indiana a great opportunity. I just think that depth-wise, I think Ohio State going through this tournament, which is going to be a rugged tournament, there's some great defensive football teams in there. University of Oregon, I think they're a threat. And obviously Georgia's one of those teams you watch them early and you say, man, their offense is so bad, I just can't why. And then at the end of the year, they're there. And they're playing great defense. You're going to see the one thing about all these teams is they are all defensively outstanding. Even Indiana, that again had Fernando Mendoza, who I think will win the Heisman Trophy or should. But I thought Notre Dame would get into the playoffs, and I still believe they should have. I don't believe Alabama deserves to be in the playoffs. I think Notre Dame deserves it more based on how they've played lately. I think they're looking at the full season, and I get they lost to Miami in the head-to-head. But there's a great thing in horse racing that I think this committee should look at, and that's recency. What have you done in the last 6 games? Let's look at your last 6 games. Now, they say they didn't play good enough people, that type of thing, and I can accept that. Again, it's one of those things. It's a tough situation, but I don't know. I just think Notre Dame should have been in. I don't think Alabama should have been in. I thought they played like garbage in the SEC championship. It was almost embarrassingly bad, and to be in there at 9 and not lose any ground based on how you play in that game. And I get it. If they weren't good enough to make it, they wouldn't have had that game. I understand all that, but you're going to take the game. You're going to play it. That should be evaluated, and I don't believe it was. I think recency, how is a team doing now, is important and needs to be something that's looked at, and I don't think that is right now.
Ryan in upstate New York writes in, he says, there are a lot of very good defenses in the college football playoff. Oklahoma and Texas A&M can get after the quarterback. There's some great teams, but I'll tell you what. So I was going to ask you if you felt Notre Dame had a legitimate gripe, and you've already answered that. Let me ask you this about Texas. They're not complaining they're not in because they get it. But with those Heisman candidates, Arch Manning isn't one of them. And going into the year, he was the odds-on favorite as the Heisman winner. Like, what happened with the Longhorns other than they just weren't that good this year? Because I haven't heard any heat on Sark. They fired their running backs coach. I guess somebody had to walk the plank. But I feel like there should be more heat on the Longhorns.
Well, I mean, give a guy a break. I mean, he's going in with a brand-new quarterback in Arch Manning. Yeah, he's Arch Manning, but he hadn't been the guy with all the – we talk about it all the time. When you're the man and everything in that university and that program is on your shoulders, that's a different type of pressure than when you're Arch Manning coming off the bench and you're in a game that, because somebody else has played he was just a substitute this year. So to think, and I was one of them. I can remember sitting and watching you announce baseball and having fans in the stands ask me about who I liked, and I said, I like University of Texas. And I bought into the media hype on Arch Manning. Now, he may still end up a great player, but he wasn't at the beginning of the season. And Texas is they had as much business being in as Alabama. They did not deserve to be in either. I have to say, while I think Notre Dame got got the short end of the stick on not getting in, I hate the way they behaved. I hate the way their AD has cried the blues. I hate that they pulled out of bowl games and basically said, I don't like the decision that you made, that granted was a tough decision, so I'm not going to play. I just think it's a baby's way out. I don't know. I struggle with it. Again, I haven't been following it like I would normally do before Football Friday, because normally I would be studying and listening and watching, and I haven't been doing that. I've been doing other stuff now. But I do believe that the Notre Dame crying, I just think it's wrong. It's bad for college football. I mean, if it's just bad to have key top people saying that what they're doing is wrong and that this is, I just don't think you can do that. So that's my take on Notre Dame.
Following it. You're following it enough. You don't need to do a lot of studying because you just covered it, and you're can I say a good BSer? Let's say a good talker. You're a good talker. But the ACC commissioner came out and blasted the AD at Notre Dame and said, for all the things you just said, and it was funny because Joe Rose on the radio here this week goes, he said what we were all thinking. And I'm like, oh, yeah, Joe, like you rarely hold back. But I guess nobody liked the way the Notre Dame AD dealt with it. And as we go into bowl season, aside from the playoff, how much stock do you put in those games? Because there's still coaches bouncing all over the place and players. It's
in those bowl games.
Yeah,
nothing.
You don't, huh?
They're nice to watch, but who cares? It really, who cares? It just doesn't matter. Everything is about the playoffs, and again, the Rose Bowl, the Cotton Bowl, some of the big ones are playoff games, so that's great. But to the Gator Bowl and whoever's going to play in those, I mean, it just. It had, for me, it has interest because there's a lot of players that we need to look at, and it's just another opportunity to see somebody emerge, some young freshman quarterback, who comes out that you could put on we have a thing called a negotiation list up here that we can protect 45 players. Well, Zach Caleros, I put him on our negotiation list his freshman year. He sat on it for 4 years. And then after he got his NFL try, we had the right to sign him. So for the U.S. fans and the people in Las Vegas who don't know, that's how we operate. So it's important for us, especially with quarterbacks, to find them early. Now, obviously, a guy like Fernando Mendoza is not going to be on anybody's neg list because he's going to be in the NFL. And you have to gauge, for us, we have to gauge who's going to be best for our league. So, that's what I'll be doing in those bowl games. I'll be looking for guys that are potential CFL players. I'll watch it. Give me an excuse to watch them. But, it doesn't give me a buzz. The playoffs give me a buzz. I mean, I can't wait to watch some of these matchups.
Yeah, me too. I got a litany of comments from the viewers. They're all very positive. Jim, we'll let you get back to work. Merry Christmas, safe travels, and congrats again.
Thanks, Rod. Love it. Mike Miller, I'm going to tell him he's going to get on your show.
All right. I can't wait. I look forward to it. The next and newest head coach of the Toronto Argonauts. So we'll get to your comments, sports update when we come back here on Silver State Sports Entertainment Network and Game Plus TV.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
RP Show continues on a Football Friday. Happy holidays. Hope you love what I've done with the place. Dug some Christmas decorations out of the tickle trunk, and frankly, I quite like it. Have you spotted them? By the way, we're brought to you in part by CoolBet. Do me a favor. You're going to bet anyways. Go to coolbet.com and claim your welcome bet bonus today by using the promo code RP200. CoolBet will match your welcome bet up to $200 with a bonus. Canadian viewers only. Sorry. If we have time in this segment, I will get to the sports update, but I'm going to read viewer comments first here on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network and Game Plus TV. I love that you are all into the college football bowl season and playoff, because I'm going to be big time here over the next month on this show. I'm glad you're into it. Jeremy in Winnipeg writes in, he says, Boomer Sooner. Vancouver, hope I said that right. Vancouver Eric says college football is in the news for all the wrong reasons. Well, the Lane Kiffin stuff has largely been put to bed, other than, looks like the schedule came out this week and LSU goes into Ole Miss week 3. People already sharpening their swords. Jeff the Stamps fan says bowl games are part of the holiday season regardless. Jeremy says bowl games can enhance draft stock, so they're kind of important. Darren's watching in Salt Lake City, Utah. He says bowl games are for an extra 3 weeks of practice and momentum for next season. On the football side, yes, but they're also for making money. And I feel like the NCAA is as better than that, than anybody, better at that than anybody else. Carlos in Indianapolis says, you're not going to just in case Fernando Mendoza? Scott writes in, he says, I'm glad Jim's working on Argonauts stuff rather than studying the college football playoff selection process. time to get the good ship Argo sailing again. Well, maybe being up on the college football selection process affects his CFL job. You don't know. But I feel like he can walk and chew bubble gum at the same time. 902-518-3033 is the text line. It's brought to you by Western Dodge. Are you looking to trade up? Western Dodge makes it easy with top dollar trade-ins and unbeatable deals. I feel like the sports update's going to have to carry over into the next segment. We got some things we need to get to. Breaking news today. Sharon Moore, who was abruptly fired this week as the University of Michigan football coach, was charged today with 3 crimes, including home invasion and stalking a person he had dated, prosecutors said. Moore has spent 2 nights in jail following his firing and subsequent arrest. Wednesday, the 39-year-old who had led the Wolverines for 2 seasons was fired for what the school called an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. Hours later, police arrested Moore after he was accused of assault in Pittsfield Township, a community near Ann Arbor. Meanwhile, declaring Las Vegas a cowboy town, dozens of riders on horseback have traditionally kicked off the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo by galloping into the arena and then lining up their horses side by side as the riders tip their hats to cheers. But an equine virus outbreak this year has loomed over one of the world's most prestigious rodeos, and the threat was apparent from the start. Riders walked out during the grand entry on foot. Of the NFR this week, their horses were safely kept away with strict health precautions in place. Other riders weren't able to bring their horses to the event at all. So good luck and Godspeed to the horses at the National Finals Rodeo. I hope they get this thing. Sounds like a horse COVID to me. What if we put masks on them? There are just 2 games on the NHL schedule tonight. Connor Bedard and the Chicago Blackhawks visit the St. Louis Blues, looking for a second straight win after their 3-0 victory over the Rangers on Wednesday. And the nightcap has the Utah Mammoth. There you go, Darren in Salt Lake City, entertaining the Seattle Kraken. I'll do my picks next segment. Last night was 7 of 13, which pays. Sports update brought to you by Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store. Still time to get down in person and do the shopping for the sports nut in your life. Get your game day gear in store or online at ultimatefanzone.ca. One more segment to get your questions and comments in. 902-518-3033 if you're watching on television, or the YouTube chat if you're watching streaming. And we'll be back after one more time out here on the Silver State Sport and Entertainment Network across Nevada, Game Plus TV across Canada and 32 U.S. states, YouTube Live, podcast, and Mission Radio, 1700 WQVZ.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. It has been a fantastic day and a fantastic week, and I can tell you it's going to be a fantastic weekend. And we covered everything that I wanted to and more. Look at all these notes that I have on the sheet. Thank you for playing along, everybody, and making it so much fun. And, well, Overtime is brought to you by Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. It's cold outside. Get inside and warm up at Overtime Hockey Lanes. It's an amusement park for hockey players. You're bored, you're looking for something to do, and you dang sure can't be outside playing road hockey. Not that much fun when it's this cold in southern Alberta. Head in and tell Randy and Michelle the RP show sent you. And by the way, when you do, one drop-in session gets you a free skate sharpening at Overtime Hockey Lanes, 28th Street Northeast, Calgary. But y'all are hung up on the college football, and I love it. I love it because I'm going to be too. Jason in Red Deer says college bowl games are about the same importance as the NHL All-Star games. Yeah, and that also is for marketing and for all the rest. Doesn't really mean a whole lot, right? Tony in Cochrane says, how many people actually watch all the bowl games? There's like over 40 of them. Well, you don't need to watch them all. It's like it's a buffet. And when you go to the buffet, do you eat everything on the buffet? I wouldn't advise it. Feel like I've tried it. Doesn't work. There was a year I think I tried to watch every bowl game or part of every bowl game, and you can't. There are too many, but it's there to be enjoyed. And I'm just very grateful to be able to watch one in person here, the Boca Raton Bowl, the Bush's Boca Raton Bowl of Beans. I don't like it either, but they didn't consult me. Ryan in upstate New York says, make it a great weekend, Rod Squad. Enjoy the sports and stay warm. Jeremy writes in and says, Rod, what's your percentage of the Eagles peeing away the NFC East to the Cowboys? 3%. Cowboys have 6 wins. Eagles have 8. We're in a scenario here where the Cowboys got to win every game and the Eagles have to lose every game. And what? The Eagles have lost 3 in a row? That's going to end this weekend. They're going to beat the Raiders. So, no. I'm so sorry, but I'm not holding out any hope, and I don't think you should either. Jeremy, are you a closet Cowboys fan? I know you're a Chiefs fan, but you're sitting there going, my Chiefs aren't going to be in the playoffs, so who am I going to cheer for? Cowboys aren't going to be either. And Sunday Night Football, I do have them picked to win. I think you were watching last hour when we mentioned the Cowboys are home to the Vikings, and we played deal or no deal. Dallas is favored by 8, but by 6. I think they'll cover, but it's not going to matter. The Eagles aren't going to use your term, pee it away. Ron in Calgary writes in, says, "Good day, Rod. Have a great weekend, everyone." Yes, you as well, Ron. And stay warm. Laverne writes in and says, he's in the Frontier City, and says, "Great show. Thanks, RP. Coach Barker was great. Teddy bear toss at the iPlex in Swifty tonight against PA. Hey, take a new or slightly used stuffed toy down there to the stable, as we used to call it, and help out those less fortunate." Here we go. Yeah, Jeremy says his NFC team is the Cowboys. America's team. Probably going to delve into that Buccaneers documentary this weekend, which was kind of hoping to get a sneak peek Thursday night on Amazon Prime, and that just didn't happen. You got to be careful about raising your expectations. I was all excited for the Thursday night game and the broadcast and the hubbub around it, and game, it wasn't that good. Somebody wrote in here earlier and said it was a game. No, it was close, and that's good. Bucks played terrible. There was very little coverage of their 50-year reunion, and I left disappointed. Imagine if I actually cheered for the Buccaneers. NHL games tonight, Chicago at St. Louis. I'll take the Blackhawks, even though I'm not officially anointing the Blackhawks. I'm not crowning their ass. They'll beat St. Louis. NHL worst -30 goal differential with the Blues, which really makes no sense. Seattle at Utah. Let's go with the Mammoth at home. By the way, speaking of weird arenas, which we talked about, the Salt Lake Arena looked really weird when I was watching the Panthers broadcast the other night. Just saw in the break, I was surfing Twitter, and I saw Darren Dreger's Twitter, and he had a video of the arena in Italy. It doesn't look anywhere near being ready. Certainly not 2 months worth, even if they worked around the clock for 2 months. I'm sure most of you follow Darren Dreger on Twitter, but his thing was, here's a video. He says, doesn't look like it's close to being done, but the NHL says it's cautiously optimistic. And we all want to believe our leaders. We want to believe Gary Bettman. We want to believe Bill Daley. I feel like the IOC people and the IIHF people have been really quiet about this. Yeah, well, again, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to put any more energy in it than I already have. Just a very sad situation. As I said earlier in the week, sucks when you trust people to do their jobs and they don't. What are you going to do? With the ice being not regulation. I love what Daley said. It's not like we walked around with tape measures looking over their shoulder. Like, do your job. BW writes in, he says, I'm cheering for the Browns and Jacksonville. Have a great weekend. Stay warm. And yes, that's cool, Jeremy. They got the story in there of John Gruden being traded with Oakland. Yeah, we all kind of forget these things happened. That's what is awesome about these sports documentaries. There should be more. Okay, thanks to Jim Barker. Thanks to Joe, 747 Gunnis. Thanks to our production crew and producer Corey and his gang. Thank you, Brent in Saskatoon. You stay warm. Jeff, the Stamps fan. Yeah, we'll do it all over again Monday right here. Noon Eastern live on Game Plus Television Network, and a little later in the day, but in prime time in Sin City on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. Take care, everybody. We'll see you Monday on all these broadcast platforms.
That